Once upon a time, in the grand kingdom of Eldoria, there lived a princess named Cassandra. Unlike the typical princesses in fairy tales, Cassandra was not particularly fond of royal duties, learning, or anything that required effort. She was known across the kingdom as the lazy princess. Instead of practicing swordplay or diplomacy, Cassandra spent her days lounging in the palace gardens, sipping honey tea, and watching the clouds drift by. Her tutors would arrive, hoping to teach her about history or governance, but she always found an excuse to escape, sometimes pretending to be asleep, other times hiding in the castle's vast corridors. Servants would whisper about her reluctance, and nobles often shook their heads, wondering how she could ever rule Eldoria. Her parents, King Reginald and Queen Eleanor, worried about her future. One day, Cassandra, her mother would say, "You will rule this kingdom, and you must be wise and hardworking. A leader cannot afford to be idle." But Cassandra would just yawn and say, "Maybe tomorrow, mother." The kingdom flourished for many years, but then a great drought struck. The rivers dried up, the once green fields turned brown, and the farmers struggled to harvest their crops. The royal advisors worked tirelessly to find a solution, but nothing seemed to work. The kingdom needed a leader who could inspire the people and secure aid. "Cassandra, this is your time to step up," the king said. "You must travel to the neighboring kingdom and request assistance. We cannot delay any longer." Cassandra groaned. "Me? But that sounds so exhausting. Can't someone else do it?" "No, my dear," the queen insisted. "This is your responsibility. It is time for you to understand what it means to be a ruler." Left with no choice, Cassandra reluctantly set out on her journey. She had never traveled beyond the palace walls before and found herself facing many inconveniences: dusty roads, long hours of riding, and no soft pillows. The heat made her sweat, the bumpy carriage ride made her irritable, and the simple campfire meals were nothing compared to the feasts she enjoyed at the castle. She whined and complained, but as the days passed, something changed. She met villagers along the way, families who had lost everything to the drought. A young girl, no older than 10, offered Cassandra a piece of stale bread despite having little for herself. "You must be hungry, princess," the girl said with a smile. Cassandra was stunned. No one had ever given her something at their own expense before. It was always the other way around.
She would not let her kingdom suffer because of her indifference.
Shared his wisdom, telling
when she
her,
finally arrived
"True
at the
leadership is
neighboring
not about
kingdom of
sitting on a
Veradale,
throne,
she met
child.
King Alden.
It's
Nervous
about
but resolute,
people
she
who
pleaded for
depend on
aid,
you."
not just as a princess
For
but
the
as someone
first
who
time
had
in her
witnessed her
life,
people
Cassandra
suffering
felt
firsthand.
something new: guilt.
She spoke with passion,
Had she
describing
been
the
so
hardship she had seen,
self-absorbed that
the
she had
hungry
never
children, the
considered
dry
the
fields,
struggles
and
of
the
her
despair in
people?
the farmer's eyes.
Determination
Moved by her
replaced
sincerity,
usual
King Alden
laziness.
agreed to send carts filled with food, barrels of water, and seeds to replant Eldoria's fields. When Cassandra returned to Eldoria with the much-needed aid, her people cheered. The once lazy princess had become their hero. She had learned that leadership was not about avoiding work but embracing responsibility. Though she still enjoyed the occasional afternoon nap, she was no longer known as the lazy princess, she was Princess Cassandra the Wise. She continued to travel throughout the kingdom, listening to her people, solving their problems, and ensuring that Eldoria would never suffer from neglect again. Under her rule, the kingdom flourished once more, and the people never forgot the day their princess chose action over idleness.